Third party candidates, third party presidents. Hopefully, this mic is okay. Third party people. Let's get right into this. Let's talk about the third party. There's some interesting things here, and this is a great article. This is by Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Let me just open this up. This is from Robert F. Kennedy Jr.substack.com. The article dated December 11, 2023 is titled Ballot Access Laws Are Undemocratic. Here's How We Can Fix Them. Now, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'll try to get through a lot of this. In George Washington's farewell address, America's first and only independent president warned that the rise of political parties would eventually subvert the power of the people. Today's rigged ballots access laws prove the enduring truth of Washington's words. Extreme ballot access restrictions for independent and third-party candidates are among the worst forms of voter suppression in America today. They artificially prop up the two-party duopoly, even as 63% of American adults agree that the Republican and Democratic parties do such a poor job of representing the American people that another choice is needed. And then he posts this video. Let's see if I can play this here.
Hey, everybody. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. here. I'm reaching out to you about an important matter called ballot access. Because I'm running as an independent candidate, we have to tackle the massive challenge of getting on the ballot in all 50 states. That means collecting millions of signatures, which is going to end up costing us about $15 million. That's a cost that the two-party candidates don't have to bear, because they're automatically on the ballot. I'm actually thrilled to meet this challenge because it allows us to showcase our people power in action. Last quarter, thanks to your extraordinary support, we outraised both Presidents Trump and Biden in individual campaign contributions. And if you've been reading the newspapers, you know that my favorability ratings are much higher than either of these candidates. I already have enough national support to qualify to be on the stage for the presidential debates.
Nice.
Which means voters will finally have another choice outside of the corporate-controlled uniparty. Americans want more options, and with your help, we can make that happen. Your donations right now are going to go directly to our ballot access mission, whether it's $5 or $20 or $100. Every dollar you give gets us one step closer to taking back the White House. When I do that, everything is going to change. If you like this video and you want to help me become president of the United States, go to Kennedy24.com and donate now. Hey, everybody.
Pause that right there. That is such a great message. Such a great message. And I think we all know that Kennedy is the one who can actually do this. He can make this happen. He can actually make third parties great again. It can happen. But he also explains to me how difficult it is, because my understanding was a little bit different. I didn't understand how difficult this was to get your name on the ballot. That's all he's talking about, getting the name on the ballot. How do you get RFK Jr.'s name on the ballot? And it's something that America needs to make America great again and again and again. It needs that. We need more than one choice. And you can clearly tell who I'm voting for. Clearly. You can clearly tell that. But I've been a Kennedy supporter, John F. Kennedy, Robert F. Kennedy Sr., and I've always liked RFK Jr. too. Common sense guys, just like President Donald Trump, I believe. Common sense guys. And America deserves that. And if you don't want to vote for President Trump for whatever reason, at least you could have a second choice. Now, there's always the option to write in the vote, but look at how difficult they have really made it for a third party candidate to actually run and to actually get not even just to get the name on the ballots. And that was a process that I just did not understand until Kennedy was able to really break this down. And he breaks it down very, very well. And I'm going to cover this article because this article is so important for people like me who just, assume that It's not that difficult. Get your name on the ballot. Hey, I want to run for president, et cetera, et cetera. Kennedy really breaks this down and shows how difficult it really is to get on the third party ballot if you're not a part of this two-party system. And by the way, I don't believe Donald Trump is a part of the two-party system too. But what he did is very similar to what RFK Jr. was doing before the Democrat Party not nixed him out basically and said, we're going with Biden and that's it. Kennedy really had no choice but to do something else and not be a part of this two-party system, not run as a Democrat, because it would have been very hard for him, almost nearly impossible for RFK Jr. to run and to get the nominations because of how the DNC has let me see if I can make this better, because of how the DNC has pretty much rigged their primary and has, they're not about the people. You could argue the Republicans too, because they're trying to get Donald Trump out. They don't want Donald Trump as their candidate. A lot of them, a lot of the old school, a lot of the old party, the GOP party, they don't want Donald Trump to run, but he is. And so for me, I see Donald Trump and I see RFK Jr. as third party candidates who can actually win and who can make a big, big change in this country, can make this country great again. And we need that. We need to take America back. And it can happen. It will happen. It's all in God's hands. If God wants it to happen, it will happen. Nothing will stop that. Nothing will stop God. But I want to go back to this article and keep reading a little bit more. All right. So I've already done this. Let's go. So that's the article. Let's continue on with what RFK Jr. says. Whereas most democracies have multiple party systems, Democrats and Republicans have created over the last several decades a Byzantine ballot access process to stop independents and third-party candidates. Each state has different signature numbers, petitioning windows, circulator requirements, petition forms with varying fields, and other rules. This Gallimaufry ballot access requirements entrenches the power of the two major parties who would rather force my independent campaign to spend millions of dollars getting on the ballot than face us in a fair contest of ideas. Here are some of the most egregious hurdles in an independent campaign. Here, I'm going to start that over again. Here are some of the most egregious hurdles an independent campaign must overcome to get on the ballot in all 50 states and the District of Columbia, so 51. It must collect about 1 million valid pen and paper signatures through petitions across the country. Effectively, this means closer to 1.5 million to ensure that enough are valid. Normally, this entails a budget of 10 to 15 million to hire professional petition circulators who can navigate the maze of confusing rules. Arcane petitioning rules are different in each state. This entails copious administrative work requiring whole teams of people with expertise dedicated to deciphering the rules of each state. States like West Virginia make campaign filing paperwork in every county before starting to collect signatures. While some states have notarization and congressional district signature requirements. Worse, secretaries of states are often unfamiliar with their own rules, and they sometimes give incorrect or contradictory instructions on their website or over calls and emails. An independent campaign must go back and forth with state officials, involve their attorneys, and sue. And remember, RFK Jr. is a lawyer. 24 states require electors on the petition forms, and 27 require a vice presidential nominee. So 24 states require electors on the petition forms, and 27 states require a vice presidential nominee. This is for third-party candidates, for independents and third-party candidates. This is crazy. This is crazy. This is what the states have said. And this helps the two-party system. One of the things that I really love about RFK is what he's doing here and is educating me continually educating me about how this whole thing works, right? He's been educating me about the Democratic Party platform, how the DNC has gone after, come here, Katie, how the DNC has gone after people they don't like, or the candidates that they don't want to run, et cetera, while posing as some type of a platform where, hey, let's just vote for the best person. And this is another reason why a lot of people are like, your vote does not count. There are so many reasons why people feel like that, and there's some valid reasons here. RFK Jr. really is able to break this down. You can see what is happening with President Trump too, and these candidates who have no chance of actually beating Donald Trump that are still running against him. But there's always a light that shines, and I do believe that Vivek Ramaswamy is one of those candidates who will shine, that is showing, showing his true colors, and showing that, what it is if you did want to run against somebody that you liked. And I believe Vivek likes President Trump, and I believe President Trump likes him. It sounds like, from what RFK Jr. says, he likes Vivek too. And that's how it's done. And you can see that. But let me get off of this and go back to some of these things that are being said. Okay, so the 24 states require electors on the petition forms, and 27 require a vice presidential nominee. So Kennedy's got to choose a vice presidential nominee. Well, I think we know who he could choose, right? There's someone waiting in the wings, and that would be Jesse Ventura, the former governor of Minnesota, WWF Hall of Famer, and a great wrestler and one of the greatest wrestling commentators of all time. All right. So based on that, Kenny says this prevents an independent campaign from starting to petition until it has chosen a vice president and or navigated the electoral stating process, which is in its own administrative labyrinth. Each state has different rules on how independents appoint electors, whether they need to be geographically appropriated by congressional district, how and when they can be replaced, whether alternatives are needed, and what forms to file and when. See how difficult they make it? This is so complicated, and yet Kennedy is able to break this down in a short article posted on Substack.com, where Robert F. Kennedy Jr. gets most of his news. Some states have huge signature requirements and narrow petitioning windows. California requires 219,403 valid signatures in 15 weeks, which comes out to 14,600 signatures a week, a feat that no independent campaign has ever accomplished. And is this why we don't see many third-party people on the California ballots? It makes so much sense, and he's able to break this down so eloquently. Texas requires 113,151 valid signatures in 11 weeks. That's crazy. They expect them to do door knocking and all of this stuff during, post-COVID and everything. He's going to explain why these signatures, the valid signatures, could be done electronically. And that's going to open up another can of worms that at first got me really thinking, ooh, I don't like that. Because how do you validate an online signature? But it can be done. Sorry, my cat wants to go out. 1 second. All right, let's go. All right. Kitty Cameo is done for the day. Hopefully. Let's see what else RFK is saying. Democrat and Republican state legislators can change their rules to sabotage any petition drive or third party. In 2020, New York tripled their signature requirements from 15,000 to 40,000 to 45,000 without expanding the 6-week petitioning window. That's a lot of votes, throwing the Green, Libertarian, and Independence parties off the ballot. Massachusetts requires 10,000 signatures and in the past has invalidated entire petition sheets due to one stray mark. This is crazy. I mean, this is nuts how difficult they are making it for just a third option. And I'm just baffled by this. And this is a great learning experience for me to understand this process and to pray about what can we do to change this. This has got to change. This is bad. This is bad. Litigation. And remember, coming from a lawyer, litigation, an independent campaign must defend its petitions against the inevitable onslaught of litigation by Democrat and Republican lawyers hired to keep it off the ballot with expensive, time-consuming legal nitpicking. I mean, this seems frivolous to me, some of this stuff. I mean, this is where I think about the fair elections here, which we need. We really need. I didn't understand any of this stuff that he's saying. This is the first time a lot of the stuff that I've ever heard of. I thought it wouldn't be easy for a third party candidate to get on the ballot. I had no idea it was this difficult. And these were the circumstances. This is crazy. This is crazy. And it's like, well, if your candidate is so great, then you wouldn't do this. So I'm very curious. I want to make sure, I want to see, is Trump's campaign going after this type of thing? It seems more like the two parties. And we have to remember the RNC is not that crazy about President Donald Trump. They're just not. They have all these other candidates, all these other people that they want instead of Donald Trump. They are so out of touch with the American people and so out of touch with their own party that they do not understand how popular President Trump is, that he will get the nomination. He will be the next president in 2024. And on the other side, the Democrat Party is so out of touch with the American people and so out of touch with their own party that they don't understand. They may lose people in their party who will vote for Kennedy wherever he goes, with whatever party he's part of, because they understand Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is a real Democrat. He is he's what we want from the Democratic Party. He's wanted. Just as the same way that President Donald Trump is wanted by the American people. We want two good choices. I want Kennedy and RFK Jr. to compete in a fair and balanced election against each other, and may the best person win. That's what we need. That's what this country deserves. And that's what the American people, I think, are thirsting for. There's a hunger for it. And whether it happens this year, whether it happens in 4 years, um, these two guys are not going anywhere. This is not a one and done with either of these two guys. We're going to see Donald Trump for a long time, and we're going to see RFK Jr. for a long time. Remember, RFK Jr. is young too. He's young, he's healthy. President Trump eats fast food. I don't believe RFK Jr. does. It's just my guess. I'm just guessing here. But I do believe that both of them will be around for a long time. Trump is getting older, but he's mentally there. I just watched his speech in Iowa. It just happened a couple minutes ago. And the guy is, like he was saying, and I wish I had my notes here with me, but he feels better now. He feels more in tune, more sharp. And the more that they go after him, the more in tune with the American public, I believe he will be. Let me finish this off. I really just wanted to go about 30 minutes here. And going forward, I really want to keep it at that. RFK Jr. continues, fortunately, my campaign has a massive base of grassroots supporters and a robust legal team that will overcome these hurdles to get my name on the ballot in all 50 states and the District of Columbia. I really hope so. I really hope so. When I started reading this article, I'm like, man, this is bad. This is bad. He's never going to get on the ballot. I want RFK Jr. on the ballot. He needs to be on the ballot. And as long as there is a write-in option, okay, cool. Write him in. But let's get his name on the ballot. And I'm even looking at my state and even thinking, how can we do this? How can we make this happen? Or how can we learn if we can't get this done this year, this election season? How can we work to make sure that what is happening to RFK Jr. does not happen going forward? We need more candidates, and let the people decide. But you can clearly see with the two-party system, unless you're Donald Trump, it's really hard to break that mold. And like I have said, I do not believe Donald Trump is a Republican or a Democrat. He's for the American people. It's the same thing with RFK Jr. Yeah, he grew up in the Democratic Party, but look at the Democratic Party and look at what they're doing. Look at where they're going, where they lean. And RFK Jr. is completely separated from them on many things he probably agrees with, just like Trump. Trump probably agrees with the Republican Party on some things too. But there's some vast differences, very big differences that are very vital to the future and the health of this country going forward. And these are issues that I've heard on both sides, from Monsanto to the border to the wars. One of the biggest things that I believe Trump and RFK Jr. agree on is the wars. We need to get out of these wars. So let's continue on here. So these are the states here. He puts up this map, the ballot access, the signatures submitted, the petitioning and about to start. Petitioning window open, needs electors or VP. The petitioning window not open. Look at those states. The petitioning window is not open. Those are big states. Those are big numbers. That's going to be really hard for Kennedy to just get his name on to the ballots in these states. That's wrong. That is just so wrong. He says, we already secured a legal victory against the state of Utah, which agreed to move its unduly burdensome ballot access deadline for independent candidates from January 8th, 2024 to March 5th, 2024. Good for Utah. But the fact that my campaign is exceptionally well prepared for this challenge doesn't make it okay. A campaign should not have to devote its money, time, and energy to ballot access, but rather to speaking to voters to win their support. The current system amounts to deliberate and arbitrary suppression of the democratic process. As a country, there is much we can do to make our ballot rules more sensible and to bring them in line with democratic values. State officials should work together to streamline and standardize the ballot access procedures. Virtually every aspect of modern life besides petitioning has entered the digital age. You can buy healthcare, pay your taxes, manage your Veterans Affairs benefits, purchase a car, and do practically anything else online except sign petitions for independent candidates, parties, and state initiatives. There is no legitimate reason why petitioning alone should be kept in the analog world, requiring pen and paper signatures, which then have to be validated by state employees in a ridiculous process that could easily be brought online and made much simpler. In a democracy, the people are supposed to decide who gets into office, not state officials and party operatives who look for ways to prevent popular candidates from getting on the ballot. To fix our broken ballot access system, the American people will need to pressure state and national lawmakers to build a better, more democratic process. When I'm elected as America's first independent president since George Washington, I will lead the way. Want to help? Pledge your signature today. Once the Kennedy campaign begins collecting signatures in your state, you will be contacted on how you can sign our official ballot access petition. I love that. And I will be signing that. I will be signing that for my state. I just wanted to share that. This article was awesome. It was great. I've been sick, feeling much better, getting much better. Not at 100% yet, but definitely getting there. Working on some new office stuff, some background, checking out the backgrounds, trying to figure out a way to get the map in there. The map in there, I got the mic way too far from where I am, so the audio may be low. The Trump flag is on the bottom here. I got to figure out a way to get that right about there. It's all coming, all the work in progress. God bless you all. Thank you for taking the time to watch this. Check out RFK Jr.'s new book. I wish I have the book. I should have brought it up here. But check out his new book. And God bless you all. Until next time, may God be with you. Remember, Jesus Christ loves you. That's what matters.